Come gather around and lend her both your ears. Granny's got some stories from her golden gaming years. She rocked a controller and a joystick in her hand.
Back in my day,
She said with a grin,
I beat Tetris so hard it started to spin.
She played Minecraft while making a stew. She built a whole castle in a llama zoo.
I was in Fortnite skydiving so bold. From bronze to silver, I've got dreams of gold. Here's my story, come along and see how games bring me joy and they're fun for me.
From Pixel Lands to Battle So Wow, she's just a granny, but she's gaming with style.
Some say I'm old, but I'm young at heart. With every new game, it's a fresh new start. So grab your controller and let's press play. Together we'll game the day away.
Don't forget to smash that like button, share this video. If you haven't done so already, subscribe and click that notification bell for future uploads. Now let's get into today's story. Today's story is about the notorious modern-day outlaws, the Hells Angels. The game that I chose to go along with our story is Days Gone. While the Hells Angels have not had to battle zombies, Days Gone features 2 members of a motorcycle gang from before the apocalyptic storyline begins. It also shows what the gangs will do to former members who betray the club. The Hells Angels started in Fontana, California back in 1948. It was a handful of World War II veterans, and the name came from a World War II bomber squad called Hells Angel. One of its former members, George Christie, who later became the president of the Ventura, California charter from 1978 to 2011, later became an author and a tell-all of sorts. He told some of his secrets and the stories of the motorcycle gang, and in 2015 he hosted a show called The Outlaw Chronicles about his life with the Hells Angels. It aired on the History Channel. With over 400 chapters in nearly 50 countries, the Hells Angels is the most widely known biker gang in the world. While today they are large and in charge, they didn't always start out that way. One thing they needed was a way to make money. In the early days, they were all about good times and cheap thrills, but as they grew, making money became one of their priorities. The Altamont Speedway Festival that was held on December 6, 1969, often referred to as the end of the 60s. The concert drew a crowd of over 300,000 people. One of the bands featured was the Rolling Stones. Among the crowd is the Hells Angels, but they weren't there for the music and the party. They were instead there for security. Their payment was going to be all the beer that they could drink, so about $500 for the beer was the cost of security that day. The Angels, using their bikes and themselves, formed a barrier between the crowd and the stage. One of the gang members, Paul Hibbett, who's also known as Animal, was with his fox skin hat on that day. The band Jefferson Airplane took the stage, and that's when the crowd started pushing against the Angels and their bikes. And the Angels started pushing back. Marty Balin, the singer from Jefferson Airplane, starts yelling at the Angels to lay off the crowd. He started saying he wasn't going to sing or perform at all that day if they didn't. Animal was asked to go and talk to Marty, and when he went and tried to explain what was going on, that the crowd was pushing against their bikes, Marty responded to Animal with F off. Animal tried to keep the peace with Marty and told him not to talk to him that way. Marty then said F you to him 3 times in a row. On the third F you, Animal punched him, knocking him out. By the time the Rolling Stones took the stage, the crowd is out of control, and the violence escalated. A man named Meredith Hummer pulls out a gun. Alan Pizarro, a member of the Hells Angels, stabbed him in self-defense, and then is later acquitted. However, it cost the Hells Angels $50,000 in court costs, and they felt that the Rolling Stones owed them that. But the Stones refused to pay it. The Hells Angels put out a murder contract on Mick Jagger. In the early 70s, several of the Angels who had went to the Hamptons found out that Mick Jagger was in town on a yacht, and they secured a boat to go out to his yacht and kill him. But a storm came in and caused the Angels to turn around when the boat started to take on water. The message, however, must have gotten to Mick Jagger, because a while later a check for $50,000 arrived. It was after this incident that the Hells Angels decided legit jobs were not worth it, so they set their sights on a more lucrative business, the drug industry. From selling bags of weed to LSD, nothing would make the Angels more money than meth. A couple of guys in the club were able to obtain the recipe to make their own meth, and they guarded those recipes like grandmother's secret cookies. While drugs made them money, the main thing that they wanted was territory. There were quite a few gangs that stood in their way. This is when they started a charter in Ventura, California, where George Christie would lead them the way that he wanted to. One of the gangs that stood in their way was called the Orphans. Outside of a bar one night, the Hells Angels got into a brawl with the Orphans. When a police officer rolled up and told them, "Don't leave any bodies in the street," then he drove off. Sometime after this brawl, the Orphans Club burnt down. While several officers stood there and watched, they didn't want the orphans around any more than the Angels wanted them around. A fully patched Hells Angels member wears a rocker. The top rocker, which is the name of the group, the middle rocker, which is the insignia of the gang. In the Hells Angels case, it's the death head. The bottom rocker is the location or territory in which they control. The little MC patch on the side just stands for Motorcycle Club, and the 1% patch that you see on their cuts indicates that 99% of the motorcycle clubs follow the law. But there's 1% that doesn't. In days gone, the biker club is called the Mongols, but the Hells Angels had a beef with a gang called the Mongols. It is unknown as to the true cause of the deadly feud that took place at the Hara Casino in Laughlin, Nevada on April 27, 2002. But a theory is that the Mongols added California to their cuts, and as I stated before, the bottom rocker indicates control of their territory. In this case, the Angels felt that they ran California. With over 100 Mongols inside the casino, in walk 30 to 40 Angels. One of the Angels kicks a Mongol in the chest. Immediately, the fight is on. Fists and knives are being used alike by both gangs. One of the Mongols pulls out a gun and shoots an Angel twice in the back. At that point, one of the other Angels shoots back while hovering over his dying brother in arms. The scene in the desert casino can only be described as complete chaos. 2 or 3 police officers have to jump into a mix of about 150 bikers from 2 different gangs. At the end of the day, 3 bikers would lose their lives, 2 Angels and 1 Mongol. While these stories are widely told about disputes between rival motorcycle clubs, this doesn't define the Hells Angels completely. Yes, they are a gang to be feared, but also respected. They will not only fight for each other, they fully support each other and their families. It's a true brotherhood. Should one of their brothers fall, the other Angels in that charter will make sure that the brothers' families are taken care of, even financially if need be. They would do anything for each other, even die if necessary. Do you have someone that you would do anything for, even die? Let me know in the comments. Or if you have a suggestion for a story, leave that in the comments too. Thanks for watching. Please make sure that you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit that notification bell so that you're notified for future episodes. And please also smash that like button. And we will see you on the flip side. Keep gaming, people.